Some of the things would be forward-looking. The views expressed of Anilji or us are subject to change and could be subject to errors, and these are necessarily our personal opinion only. And why is this event really happening is mainly because there are people who inspired us in sharing knowledge, sharing this content, and I've enlisted a few people who actually have led this path. Okay, so coming to main philosophy of Anilji, and so basically the format of the presentation is going to be that Anilji is going to share with us different areas of the industry and what he foresaw, what he understood, and I am going to be helping with the slides and asking him the questions to progress forward. But the building block of Anilji's investment philosophy. Anilji, if you can come in here, and this is something that you explained me a few months back, KCP Limited. If you, in your own words, can help before we move to the main points of the session, I think this is something that you should share with everybody.
Sure. So KCP Limited is a formula I invented in 1997 in the name of one company, which is a listed company. So K is basically for knowledge. So once you have a knowledge of subject, so you will definitely get the conviction. So once you have knowledge, then you have conviction. Once you have conviction, you will have patience to hold on. Because a lot of people are not able to hold on because they are not having conviction. So once you have KCP, definitely luck will hit you because you are going by something with your conviction. Then you have to take a decision which is called timely decision to once the luck hits you, you should take out money. So that is the whole idea behind KCP Limited.
Right, Anilji. In this book, Masterclass with Super Investors, Anilji's profile has been well covered. And he also mentions KCP there. Just give me 1 second. There are some people trying to join, and for some reason, they're not able to join. Right. So, coming to Anilji,
yeah,
the main reason why, what did you foresee, and how, what did you really see so far? What are the key pointers that made you invest so large into this industry well ahead of others?
see, I could see the UP sugar mills recovery going up in 2016. I came to know that Dwarkesh has achieved a delivery recovery of 11.55%. Whereas I heard before that UP sugar mills recovery was only around 9.5, that most efficient mills, and average was only 9. So that was the starting point for me to start looking into how the recovery has improved. So when I researched, so I came to know about a seed called C0238, which was invented by Professor Bakshiram in Karnal University. So once I came to know about that seed, so I understood that recovery is going up only because of that seed. So whoever adopted that seed earlier, their recovery started going up against others. So once others saw that the recovery of these particular people going up, so everybody started following it. So by 15-16, it was only around 40 to 50%. Now in around 2021, it is almost 95+%. So this seed has really changed the whole scene on the sugar industry of UP. So the UP was lagging behind Maharashtra, which was producing around 11.7 kg sugar a ton, where UP was only producing 9%. So once UP was able to overtake Maharashtra, so it automatically became interesting because with the not only recovery, this 238 also yielded about 40% more cane to the farmer. So against 55 tons of cane, it started giving you about 75 to 80 metric tons of cane, which actually increased the income of farmer by almost 2 times. So that has brought prosperity to whole UP state. And also these sugar mills started making more money because their asset, which were earlier producing X number of tonnage of sugar, started making almost double the sugar. If you see that production of UP used to be around 60 to 65 lakh tons. And now they achieved about 130 lakh tons. So see, it gives a very plus point for any investment where an asset which has not been further increased and it start doing double the production, which is very rare if you find out in any industry. That was the first point to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And okay. So obviously we will discuss in more details
Yeah.
all the areas. So let me and this point about cyclical to structural, why do you say that this industry can become from cyclical to structural?
Yeah. See, basically, once the production of UP increased, it became a problem for excess supply in the country. So what happened in 2017-18, we had a very huge production against the estimate. So after that, the sugar prices crashed and the government has to intervene to how to protect the sugar industry so that they can protect the farmer areas. Otherwise, farmers would not have got the money. And then they brought a lot of changes. They brought in like MSP, minimum sale price, which has never been there in our country for any commodity. See, I don't think it is unheard of bringing MSP, that is on the selling price.
Okay.
So they brought MSP and they also brought quota system back. That's so much quantity only each mill can sell. So that there is no glut in the market and price should not come down. And then also they came out with the idea of giving interest on the excess sugar holding by the companies. That is called buffer stock they maintained.
Right.
So after that, they came out with a subsidy on the export of sugar.
Absolutely.
So thereafter, the government thought of that this sugar is going to be continuous headache. And they came out with a permanent solution, which was the ethanol policy. Though ethanol policy has been there for many years, but it was just on the papers and it was not seriously taken care of. So after this 2018 glut, the government was very serious and they started ethanol policy with a very attractive rates to the industry. Only attractive rates bring the industry people to the platform to come in and start. But in spite of attractive rates given at that time, lot of industry people are skeptical whether the government will continue with these rates, because they thought such a big rate may not continue, and the government may come out reducing rates anytime. But in 2020, when the government revised the rate to upward for the thing, then the government, then the industry got confident that government is really serious on it. And now only everybody started putting more capacity. And I think that capacity is going to make a structural change, like the excess sugar, which we are now, government is giving subsidy to export. With that time, the government need not give the subsidy, and the excess sugar should be converted into ethanol. And also government can save on their import bill on oil. So it is a win-win situation for everyone.
Yes. So ethanol program, obviously, we'll go in more detail. So guys, these are the areas that we're going to cover. The agriculture change that happened, the policy interventions, now the ethanol blending program, which is the future, sugar price, demand supply equation, and the perspectives on growth versus valuation. So, Anilji, you spoke about CO0238, the miracle seed by Dr. Bakshi Ram. So, let's share some data, which is the evidence of this miracle.
Yeah, you can see that on the data which is showing you the yield per hectare.
Yeah.
From year on year going up in UP, which used to be around 50 to 55 metric tons before this seed developed, started going up to almost 75, 80 metric tons, which is almost 40 tons, 35, 40 tons, 40% more than the earlier crop.
Right.
So, yeah. And then also the sugar recovery, if you see, it started going up from 9.07 to almost 11.6. This is average sugar recovery, whereas some good mills have achieved a recovery up to 12.4, 12.45 like that also.
Right, absolutely. This UP used to be probably much smaller to Maharashtra. So this is what the change that is visible in UP in the production.
Yes. Yes. So today UP is the largest producer of sugar in India. The Maharashtra is coming next to UP.
Right. So what is the advantage? आप हमेशा बोलते रहते हैं कि this is not a sugar industry story. This is a UP sugar industry story. So can you explain us that, sir?
See, UP being a perennial river-fed agriculture against Maharashtra and Karnataka, second and third state in India to produce sugar, which are monsoon dependent. So monsoons are not consistent. So 1 year, 2 years will be after every 2 years or 3 years a good monsoon, you will have a one bad year. So which will bring down whatever, that makes it cyclical. So whereas in UP it is not cyclical because water is not a problem, because a perennial river is flowing throughout the year. So water is not an issue. So UP has its own advantage. They have only one advantage they had earlier, that their cane was not good quality and the recovery was very low. So which was sorted out after this seed C0238 came in.
Right. So what was the effect of this CO0238 on the output, Anilji?
That is what I'm telling. Output went up from 9% recovery to almost 11.6%.
Right.
Which is their data is there in the.
Right. So as you guys can see, the number of days that the plant was operational increased, which led to higher crushing and led to higher output. The output is significantly increased. And so इसमें capital कितना लगा companies का to increase this output?
There was no additional capital and no additional expenditure because this industry was working on 120 to 150 days.
Right.
Because the availability of cane was only that much. Because they had the same crushing capacity earlier, the same capacity later also. So with the same capacity and the same overheads, they want to crush almost double the cane. Not double, you can say 50% more cane and getting almost 100% more sugar because of the higher recovery by 33%.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to highlight. Yeah. So, right, without incurring a single rupee capex, the output has doubled. This is very, very unique to this industry.
Yeah.
Right. So, ye sugarcane farmers are heavily subsidized, and
Yes.
unka returns are much higher than paddy wheat. So, why is this, and what is the long-term solution for this?
This has been because the state administrative price, which was fixed by the political parties earlier. So, you see, during Mayawati period, they went on increasing rate to get more popularity into the state because the population of the cane farmers is very high in UP. And without any rationale, they went on increasing the price. So the price, once you give one price, you cannot reduce it. But after the BJP government came, they hardly increase the price once in whole 5-year terms. So I think they are more rational than the earlier governments. So I think, this is my personal view, this government is unlikely to increase SAP other than 10 rupees, which they have not increased against FRP increase last year.
Right.
So though the market and everybody is expecting, even the industry is expecting the increase maybe around 20 to 25 rupees per quintal. Whereas I don't foresee more than 10 rupees.
Okay.
That is also to equal. Yeah.
Right. So we will come to कि ये 10 rupee or 22 में 20 में क्या impact है. We will come to this when we are doing some math. Right. So, okay. So the major questions here arise कि Anil ji, यहाँ से sugar output, can it increase meaningfully due to acreage increase, due to seed innovations, due to better irrigation?
See, my view is the sugar, net sugar production may not increase, though the gross sugar production may go up. Gross sugar production may go up, like, see, we are now around 32 to 33. It may go to 34, 35 also, or 36 also. But because we are moving sugar to ethanol, so every year we will be consuming more and more sugar for diverting more and more sugar for ethanol. So the net production will slowly only coming down, not going up.
Right. Sure. And the sugarcane farmers, जो कि they are earning much higher, that makes the sugarcane prices very, very uncompetitive or much higher than the Brazil or anywhere else in the world. So long term, is there any reform up here possible in linking the raw material price to the realization?
So this Rangarajan committee has recommended this thing, linking the price to the sugar price, which has not worked so far, and I don't see this will work for political reason, because farmer will not agree for it, and government cannot put pressure on farmer to accept for their political reasons.
Okay. The question around SAP is already answered. So we move to the second section, because this industry is very policy heavy. So these are the key policies that happened over the last 3 years. So one thing is policy continuity, Anulji. So which are the policies do you feel that is required for the industry to stay profitable? Which policies could be discontinued? What is your view on the entire policy environment?
See, with the continuing with the same policy which is now, and without bringing any further price increase to the cane, because government is on the other side trying to disincentivize to sugarcane cultivation by giving they offering some incentive. That is also not working. So the best way is to not to increase the price at least. So with the inflation, if they don't increase further price increase for 4-5 years, so then I think it will get adjusted to inflation.
Okay, and so ethanol policy, we will obviously speak about it more, but MSP, will it be required in the future, or is it important in the future?
MSP was only a temporary thing which was brought in when there was a glut in sugar to avoid the sugar prices crash. You see, basically government is not worried about the sugar price crashing. The sugar price crash, industry loses, who will pay the farmers? The government is only worried for the farmers. So their worry to the farmer payment has to be seen through the sugar industry. So they have to save sugar industry to save farmers. So MSP may not be required once we divert sugar. See, my view, we will be able to divert almost 7 to 8 million tons of sugar by 2025. So 2025 is to achieve that goal of 20% ethanol. We may have to sacrifice almost 8 to 9 million tons of sugar. So if we are able to achieve 8 to 9 million tons, then we need not worry for anything because we will not have any surplus at all. Because even if we say our gross sugar production goes to 37 and -8, and by that time our consumption also can go to 28, 29. So it will be just matching. So that mechanism will work very well. And government is also not going to stop with E20 up to 2025. Thereafter, they have further increased into the ethanol policy.
Yes, yes. So we will discuss.
So it will continue. It will continue. That ethanol increase will continue.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Yes, ethanol, of course, we will detail. So this question around ethanol price versus oil price, this policy framework, I think everybody has a question around this. If you can throw light on this.
See, government has very clearly mentioned in the last time when they revised the rates for ethanol, they have made it very clear that there is no link to oil price. So these ethanol prices are linked to only FRP. So that is very clear. See, if they link to oil, then it may not work. So they want this policy to work. So they will go by what they have said.
Sure, sure. And today also the policy announcement that happened emphasized this point.
Right.
Okay. So MSP का आपने already बताया कि MSP protects the downside for the industry. And eventually, is there a possibility for MSP going higher, sir, from the current 31 to maybe higher?
I feel the government is comfortable till it is 39.40. So I don't think MSP coming in unless it goes beyond that. So we need not worry about that. Because, yeah.
So जैसे ये factor है कि MSP protects the downside, there is always this question of कि अगर sugar price 38-40 हो जाता है, तो will government allow sugar companies to make abnormally high profit? What is your view on that?
No, even if they do after 39-40 rupees, suppose they put a MSP after 40 rupees, that doesn't matter, no? That 40 itself is a huge profit to the industry.
Right, correct.
So we should not worry if they bring the MSP after the price goes above 38, 39.
Right, right. And we will discuss the sensitivity of profits to different moving parts. That will be more obvious then. Right. So I think we've more or less covered this part. Now for the most important area, which is the ethanol blending program. So I think the image online shows that ethanol emissions are equal to that of renewables emission. So in terms of that efficiency, it is very good compared to any other program. So ethanol program पहले भी एक बार try हुआ है. I think maybe 10-15 साल पहले also government has tried. So let's start with कि why do you feel this time the policy environment or the efforts of the government is different versus what has been tried in the past?
Well, definitely, the earlier government was never serious. They tried to copy the Brazilian model, but they didn't do it with the full intention to do it. So it was just a flip-flop. So it never took off. So this government was serious, and the seriousness came not from the changing the model, but it also came from the decarbonized world. Basically, they have committed the world that to reduce carbon these emissions. So for that, they have to show that what they are doing. Ethanol is, everybody is in race today in the world to go for more ethanol. Even if you see China, England, other countries, they are also looking for ethanol blending. Everybody is doing only for decarbonize.
Right. So two questions here. One, अगर central government ये drive कर रही है, तो 2024 there is central government elections.
Right.
Just a scenario, by chance the worst happens and this government does not remain.
Yeah.
Then what happens to the program?
No, I think this policy is already drafted, well drafted for a long term. And this program cannot be disbanded because it is also your reputation in the world market when you are doing this program for decarbonization.
Sure, sure. And secondly, ये जो global debate हो रहा है कि food और fuel. So आप sugarcane को fuel में convert कर रहे हो, and उसके लिए आप इतना water use करते हो, इतने resources use करते हो. So is it really sustainable कि आप cane से fuel बना रहे हो, आप food को divert कर रहे हो towards fuel? Is it really sustainable या आपका क्या interpretation है ये controversy का?
No, it is definitely sustainable because we are not converting just to make fuel. We are doing to exhaust a surplus capacity of sugarcane as well as the surplus production of the food, other food like grains. So we have got a lot of rice and wheat which is getting rotten with because we have a lot of surplus. So we are just trying to remove that surplus. Plus, we are also creating fuel, which is an import substitute.
Right. So एक reform program से multiple problems get addressed.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So coming to again some macro before we get into the details, कि ये electric mobility का इतना बड़ा wave है globally. So how do you read electric EV adoption versus ethanol adoption?
See, EV adoption is something it will take a very long time. And ethanol is basically you are replacing only, you are adding only to the existing petrol. No, you are not evolving a new thing. You are only making the petrol which is already there for so many years. So it is you are just adding into that.
Sure. So it's much easier to adopt and implement.
Correct. So there is no adoption actually. The government is making the petrol available only with the E20. So you have to buy that petrol only. You have no other option. So there is.
Yes. Okay. So ये जो नेशनल बायोफ्यूल पॉलिसी है,
Hmm.
मे बी जस्ट ब्रीफली अगर आप एक्सप्लेन करो सर कि क्या क्या कवर करता है, या व्हाट आर द की एरियाज दैट it is trying to address, either in terms of pricing, blending rates, uh, any other.
No, you are asking about ethanol policy or
हाँ हाँ, so ये ethanol policy exactly क्या address करता है? Is it in terms of pricing? So how do they calculate the ethanol price? Yeah, how have they come into this 10% blending, 15% blending?
no, basically they have to start with some percentage. They can't all of a sudden start a large percentage. See,
Mhm.
to achieve 10% itself, it has taken almost 4 years.
Okay.
Still, we are not achieved. We are only at 8% right now. So, first to achieve 10%, also another 1 year we have to go through. From 10 to 20%, it will take another 5 years. So almost 2025 only we'll achieve, earliest we'll achieve in 2025.
Absolutely. Okay, fine. And ये ethanol demand कितनी बड़ी हो सकती है? In terms of crore liters, या कितने साल तक ये growth आ सकती है?
See, for the 20% ethanol mix till 2025, which is our goal is to achieve in 2025. By the time we may require about 1,000 crores liters.
अभी कितना है सर? 1000 crore अभी कितना है?
Now, I think we are producing ethanol, I think must be around 250 to 300 crore liters.
Okay, so effectively
So this
industry has to triple.
1,000 crore ethanol is not going to come only from the sugar cane.
हाँ.
Out of 1,000 crore liters, about 250 crores may come from other sources. The ethanol made from other sources. So 750 crores you can keep it for sugar industry.
Okay, okay. And 1000 crore liter will get us to 20% blending.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and उसके बाद भी
Yeah,
जा
that
सकता
will
है.
continue to go up. Continue to go up. The government may bring flexible policy or full 100%. Already they have announced some vehicles for 100% ethanol.
Okay, okay. So just a question here. Even the oil marketing companies are talking about putting up ethanol plants. So is it उसमें क्या feedstock use करेंगे, or what is that plan that OMCs are talking about?
OMC can only go for anything other than cane. Sugar cane is not, nobody can come into sugar cane because sugar cane is only, you have to have area to grow sugar cane. It's not a thing you can buy and do it. So
Okay.
it can be basically only sugar mill can own the sugarcane areas.
Right. So that's a big
So there is no
advantage for.
possibility anybody else other than sugar plants to get into ethanol through the sugarcane, other than sugar mills.
Okay. And sugarcane versus other feedstock, what is more efficient? What is more yielding?
See, I think sugarcane ethanol from sugarcane is much more profitable than any other feedstock. And secondly, here the price is fixed to the sugarcane price. Whereas if you go for any other grain or any other thing, see a lot of people enter into that, then that value of that feedstock can go up. So your margin may shrink. Whereas that is not the issue in the sugarcane.
Okay, got it, got it. Right. And abhi Brazil mein blending rates are much higher, almost like
Yeah, they are
50%.
almost at 50%, average of 50%.
So again, Brazil model, Anilji, if you can explain what did Brazil really do? How did it transform? Is it a healthy industry there? Can India get to a Brazil model? If we can discuss this in detail,
No, India need not be going to the Brazil model because Brazil is producing much higher sugar. They're the largest sugar cane producer in the world, and their requirement to their own country is much lower. So basically, their model is only on export base, whereas India doesn't have to export. We are the largest consumer of the sugar. So we can only go up to the level where it is surplus to us. As the surplus is over, then we will go for the sugar only, because whatever sugar required, we have to, because the sugar price will overtake ethanol prices, then naturally people will shift back to sugar.
Right.
So there is a very good balance. So
Right.
suppose
So
tomorrow we start making more ethanol from sugar cane, then there will be shortage of sugar. Then the sugar prices will go beyond ethanol prices, and then people will have to shift back to sugar.
Right. Yeah. So we will discuss the sugar price demand supply equation in the next section. But sir, today जो announcement हुआ है about E10 and E20, अगर आपने पढ़ा हो आज, so is there anything for us to know about this fuel plan that the government?
So basically, announcement of government is why it has been preponed. Basically, they are finding difficult. You see, the sugar producing states are limited, like say Maharashtra, Karnataka, and UP. Rest is all immaterial. So the ethanol produced nearby these states, in these states, if we are to transport to say far away to Assam or Kerala, which is not viable today because there is no logistic policy has come so far. So to make viable that ethanol which is being produced today, they are bringing, preponing the E12 or E15 so that the depots which are close by to UP or Maharashtra, they can buy more ethanol for mixing. Instead of 10%, if they buy for 12%, it goes up by 20%. So the sugar mills may not have to struggle to supply.
Right.
So that is why government is preponing this policy.
Okay. And ये जो price government दे रही है, it seems to be lower than the retail price. So
yeah, it is definitely lower, because I think today they fixed the price for ethanol at 81 rupees for Delhi with the VAT and all. So basically, government is foregoing all the excise which they are getting on petrol. So on ethanol, they are putting 0% excise, so that there is no excise. So it is viable only because of no excise. Otherwise, it is definitely higher than petrol price.
Acha. So is this, again, this is kind of a subsidy that the government is providing?
Yes, it is.
Let's say 10,000 crores.
Yes.
And fuel demand is growing every year by 6-8%. So is this subsidy again sustainable? You know, what if the government changes or any other?
So basically, they are not giving anything from their pocket. They are only sacrificing their taxes. That's all. So basically, they are not giving anything from their pocket.
Sure. Right. And obviously, they have to meet the emission norms, and also, you know, there is no other way.
There is a compulsion.
Right. So, ये जो capacity, okay, so this, right. So I think this slide is what Anilji was saying, ki majority of the production has to come from sugar cane, 2/3, and eventually even the grain will become important maybe 5-7 years later. Right. So how does the ethanol production change the profits of these sugar companies? What is the impact of this?
See, government is giving very fancy price for the ethanol from the sugar cane, and I think the profitability from the bee molasses as well as the cane use, ethanol, whatever is made, that is giving them almost 25 crores of profit on 1 crore liters of ethanol.
Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
the going forward, let's say 4 years later,
Mm.
how do you see the contribution of profits from sugar, ethanol, different segments of a sugar company?
See, today we cannot predict a sugar price, but if the sugar price remain at the same level what it is, the profit from ethanol may take over. Already, I think it has taken over more than the sugar profit. But
Yeah.
going ahead, the profit going to increase in ethanol 2 times or 3 times, which is not going to happen in sugar unless sugar price also go up, which eventually may happen. I
Right,
can't
right.
say today, but eventually it should happen.
Sure. So there are, both can happen. Ethanol profits can
Yes,
also go up, and
yes.
sugar prices ed
So you
in
need
lead.
not worry about sugar prices going up.
Right.
Even sugar price doesn't go up, your profit from ethanol will be making the overall company profit almost double in next
Absolutely.
3-4 years.
Sure.
So if sugar price also goes up, then the profit will be multifold.
Right. Correct. So now coming to the kind of investment that is needed for this 1,000 crore additional production. So why do you think that this capex will happen, or what is the potential size of this capex that can happen over the few years? Because ultimately capex industry tabhi karegi when it is very attractive for the industry.
Naturally. See, basically, every company has announced a large capex for the ethanol. So, a lot of companies are already announced the capacity from 50% to 100% increase. So, this is not going to the end of it. After this capacity enhancement, they will further go up for the further capacity enhancement, because after seeing the profitability in the ethanol, they will keep on increasing capacity in ethanol.
Okay. So this 30,000-40,000 crores worth of investment, is it a right number that this is the kind of investment that has to be done for such a large capacity augmentation?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So and it will be beneficial to the industry to do this capex?
Definitely the payback period for making ethanol out of bee molasses, because any increment ethanol now coming after you are consuming C molasses, it has to be either from bee molasses or has to be from the cane juice, because there is no C molasses left because it is already consumed. Okay. So for bee molasses and cane juice ethanol, the prices are so attractive that industry will make profit to the tune that it can achieve that payback period with less than 3 years. So I don't see any industry which can get payback in 3 years.
Absolutely. And in the next 3-4 years, what amount of sugar can be diverted towards ethanol? आपका क्या estimate है sir?
That is what I told you. Up to 25, we can consume about 8 to 9 million tons of sugar.
9 million tons. Fair enough.
That is what we require for meeting a 25 target of 20% mix.
Okay. So just ballpark, what is the ROE on the capex that a company does?
I am giving you the figure of the 3-year payback. You can calculate yourself.
Right. Sure. So that pretty much adds up. Right. So just to come on basic questions here, ki, is this a multi-year pricing model which will incentivize the companies to put up capex? Ki every year the government decides ki kya price rahega?
The government has very clearly mentioned in their last announcement of ethanol prices that the prices are linked to the FRP and the sugar price. So basically, if the FRP is increased, the ethanol price will be increased in the same pro rata.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And factors of things like BPCL privatization or any other OMC privatization. So is OMC is the only customer of
Yeah.
these ethanol producers? So उसमें कोई risk है?
No, government is very clear. Once we have enough ethanol capacity, the government will make a mandatory for even the private owned OMCs to do the same thing. So they cannot avoid it. They have to go by the government rule. So they have to compulsory do the same mixing, no? That 20%.
Right.
Yeah. It will
Right.
be
And
mandatory for everybody.
okay. And this auto configuration, to what point can the automobile does not require any changes in configuration? To what blending rates can it go without any changes?
I think up to 12% you don't require any changes.
Okay.
And for 15% there are minor changes, and 20% already government has given the time to the industry to go E20 from 1st April 23. So they have already announced that. So they have given that. So there are not the big changes. There will be some minor changes.
Okay. And for example, Maharashtra is probably a little weaker. Cooperatives are in a weak balance sheet. So do
Yeah.
you think Maharashtra will be able to finance its ethanol capex, or how do you feel that is going to happen?
Right now, I feel that Maharashtra may not be able to. Cooperative mills, earlier they had the support of cooperative banks, which is now not there. So their balance sheets are so weak, they are not able to borrow money. So they are not able to put more capacity. So that will benefit on the UP mills, who are the bigger players.
Okay. Right. And I think we missed on one question earlier कि ये जो export subsidy that the government gave to export the surplus.
Yes.
So उसका क्या outlook है, or will it be needed, and in what form will be needed, etc. If you can share on that.
See, the subsidy may be needed for another 2 years or so, till we have the surplus production and the inventory. We are we carried forward last 2 years back around 14.5 million tons of sugar, which is going to be now ended at 8.7 or 8.9 this year. So once we consume, we bring down the inventory below 6 million tons, then subsidy is not required. So secondly, the subsidy may not be required if the international sugar price goes up in this scenario. Right now, the scenario in Brazil is they have a drought. So the production of Brazil is likely to be down by 6 to 7 million, which has been predicted. But my view is that it will be much lower than, it may not be even 31, 32, it may be lower than that. So the international prices will start moving. So with that, international prices, if moves beyond 19 cents, I think government need not give subsidy, and we can exhaust our surplus by next year itself.
Okay, so today we have 10.7 million ton, as we can see on the screen. And आप बोल रहे हो next, what is the critical?
10 points. I think 10.7 was last year.
Okay, so around 9 million tons, sorry, this year.
We'll end up doing about 8.7 or something, 8.7 to 8.9 this year.
Right. So where do you see the critical point कि inventory इसके नीचे जाएगी तो sugar prices will rise in India?
Anything less than 5 million will be a critical point. I think if we go beyond 5 million, the government can always bring the export. They can bring say right now it is a OGL, so anybody can export. If we are likely to go below the required stock, the government will be always bring the export tax. So they will not allow the inventory to go beyond less than 5 million tons.
Right. So
Because
abnormal profits through exports nahi ho bas aur kuch
yes,
nahi.
yes.
Sure. We will come to sugar price, demand, supply in the next section. But okay, so this gives a basic overview. Okay, so coming to a very important piece, which is sugar price. So last 50 साल 1960 से sugar price का data है,
Hmm.
and last, let's say, 30 years, sugar price has not really gone anywhere.
Yes.
So if you can give your assessment of कि हर commodity में कुछ ना कुछ inflation रहता है या, so why hasn't sugar prices, international sugar prices, gone up?
So see, basically the sugar price international going up right now is because of the you are talking about international price or Indian price?
International price.
Enterprises is now going up because there is going to be deficit production in the Brazil, and also last 2 years there has been deficit production in the Thailand.
Nee, first my question is, since 1980s,
Uh,
sugar prices are stuck in a range between 10 to 15 cents.
Okay.
So ye is there a
No,
structural
there is a
problem?
reason for that. I
Ah.
think why the price international price is not going up. It is also the depreciation of BRL. That is
Right.
Brazilian real has been depreciated last few years a big way. It depreciated to all the way from 1.8 to 6 to the dollar. Now, last few days it has retraced and come back to 5. So that's why sugar price in international can go up in dollar terms. It's all
Okay.
currency fluctuation.
Okay, so as one can see on the screen, there have been 2 cycles where Brazilian real appreciated and sugar prices also appreciated,
Correct.
and vice versa. So
Correct.
and there is a possibility that Brazilian real might start
It's
bottoming
already
or
improved
something.
from 6 to 5. So that
Okay.
is why you can see the price. See, we had seen this price about a year, within last year, I think it came down below 10 cents. At one time.
Yes, right.
So now from that, if we see, it is almost 17.8 or so. So it has gone up almost 80% from the bottom.
Right. Yeah, but वो तो सभी कुछ गिर गया था, and that's basically just normalized. Right.
Yes.
So you are saying Brazil can surprise us even more in terms of the production cut.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Because my view is Brazil has this time the drought in Brazil is the heaviest in last few years. They had earlier a drought in 2010-11. At that time also they lost sugarcane. I think the chart may be there with you. So this time I think the drought is more severe than that time. So I am anticipating this year the production will be lower by 10% or 12% on the sugar side. If they don't divert towards ethanol, it will be lower by 20%. But if they divert more to ethanol, then it can be lower by 30-40% also. But next year cane crop will be definitely lower because water is not there in the ground. So the cane crop requires a lot of water. And there is possibility lot of cultivation shifting to other crops which require less water like corn or soybean.
Okay. So you are saying that drought has almost a 2-year impact. Rather than
the real impact will for the sugarcane, especially the drought impact the later year. First year impact will be about 20%, 10%, 20%. The next year, actually, if you see earlier also, we have data to prove that. Like in Maharashtra, we had drought in 2 years, 15, 16, 2 years, we had a drought, which brought down sugar cane production. The same year also lower. The next year was the lowest sugar cane production. So same thing happened in Thailand also. So see, sugarcane is the one crop which is not affected because it is already there over the ground when the actual drought comes. So it's sustained. But the next year is basically it affects more. Impact will be next year more.
Okay, okay. So all these factors combined can help sugar prices really
Yeah, I will not
you
be
know.
surprised if sugar price go beyond 25 cents.
Okay, so I
So,
think we should once see the chart earlier
yeah,
कि sugar prices कहाँ गए हैं in the past.
yes, you can see that.
1 second. So I think in the recent past itself, 2010 के पहले, it had gone to 32 cents briefly,
Mm.
and otherwise 17, 18 cents has been several times. Yeah.
I think in 2016 also it crossed 20. If I remember,
हाँ.
it did go to
But
22.
so my question is कि काफी बार ये rise हुआ है, but उसके बाद काफी sharp drop भी हुआ है.
That is because of depreciation of BRL. It's linked to BRL directly. You can see that
Okay.
BRL chart versus sugar chart.
Right, right. So, real has depreciated from 2011 to now continuously.
Yes. So
Okay,
if
so
you can
last,
see this price today and compare with the real price in 2011, so this price is near to 40 cents or maybe more.
right, right, correct. So
Yeah.
these equations can change going ahead. On
Yeah.
the macro front, there is a lot of, okay. There is one question here, 1 second, regarding companies can make directly from sugarcane juice, ethanol directly from sugarcane juice.
Yeah, sure. They can make, but the problem is if the company is putting a plant totally on the basis of sugarcane, they can run only for the cane season. That may be 150 to 180 days, depending upon the which state they are talking about. So the cane season is not beyond 5 months to 6 months.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then
So,
they have to use alternate fuel for the remaining time.
acha. So there is one company which is doing that. So I think this is related to that. So is it really efficient? Is it really prudent? Matlab, is it really a viable business to go only via juice, sugarcane juice?
Yes, why not? But then the rest of the capacity you have to use on other fuel like rice grain or wheat grain or whatever available at the area. So whatever fuel, mother feedstock you have there, that area, which is available for cheap price, so which can be converted into any feedstock can be converted into ethanol.
Okay. And will it be ROE accretive? Matlab, will there be healthy ROE in this model where you're not producing any sugar, you're directly producing ethanol?
See that whatever you are producing for sugar, that is definitely as remunerative as from sugar that we know. Then what you produce from gain, that will be less remunerative. So your payback period may be little longer than 3 years. It can be 3.5 to 4 years.
Got it. Sure. Let me. So again, the slide here shows pretty much a similar data that we have discussed. Yeah, so this is a very important slide, sir, जो अभी है कि the demand supply equilibrium can change over next few years. So अपने just take step by step for the everybody to understand कि opening inventory क्या है, कितना production assume कर सकते हैं, कितना diversion, कितना consumption. So effectively, apne from a very high inventory, we can go down to low inventory. What is, yeah, maybe we can cover that, sir, कि कितना वो पूरा equation क्या है आपके हिसाब से?
See, this year season 2021 season end, that is September 30th, will be likely to have inventory between 8.7 to 8.9 million tons. Against what we minimum require about 5 million tons. Minimum requirement is 5 million tons. So we will be having, you can say, 3 million to 4 million excess. Once that 3 to 4 million excess goes away, plus the excess what we are producing goes away, then I think there will be a balance. So then price of domestic sugar price can move up.
To your mind, sir, what is an equilibrium price जो कि इंडस्ट्री को भी अच्छा है, गवर्नमेंट के लिए भी ठीक है, कंज्यूमर के लिए भी ठीक है? What is a healthy equilibrium price?
I think around 35, 36 should be a very good price for the industry. And I think government is not having any issue on that price. And see, basically the sugar mills, which are no distillery and other sources, they are basically their cost of production is higher against these mills. So to survive them, the price should be definitely higher than 34 rupees.
Okay.
Because their cost of production itself be around 33 or 34 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So some of the efficient mills, unka cost of production kya rehta hai, sir, versus the average industry cost of production being 34?
Oh, efficient mills cost of production will be around 30 rupees or around 30 rupees.
30 rupees, right? So there is a meaningful difference. 4 rupees ka difference to yahi par hi ho gaya.
Yes.
Right. So this again, the slide just emphasizes the same point, right? And okay, so the slide currently has the equation of why above 19 cents India can export without government subsidy. I think Anilji has already spoken on that. So what are the key? So globally, E10 or program is being adopted by other countries.
Yeah.
So वो लोग कैसे adopt कर रहे हैं? They do not have, UK and China do not have sugarcane
They have to import from other countries like USA. China is
Achha.
already importing from USA.
Okay. Okay, so they have to import.
Yes.
So if they are importing and such large countries are importing, does that open up any opportunity for India for exports eventually?
Don't see immediately because the still the price of ethanol, which has gone up almost 3 times recently, from 80 cents to right now $2.48 dollars. It will work out around 50 rupees approximately to Indian money. So I think still our price is equal to that or a little higher to that. So we don't have export opportunity yet unless it goes beyond this price.
Okay. And ye pura ethanol mein, is there any room for any kind of a downstream value addition products? Ye sab aviation mein bhi ethanol fuel ki baat kar rahe hain.
Yes.
So
that will happen slowly because the availability of ethanol should also be viable. No, you can't. It has to be slow and steady. No, ethanol also should be produced. It's not abundant. It has to be some surplus feedstock has to be converted into ethanol. You can't use all the feedstock into ethanol and you will be short of food grain itself.
Okay. And coming to a question which I think I missed on the agriculture side ki यूपी में suppose कोई कारण से production कम होता है sugar cane का, so then how does it impact the whole thing? It will impact ethanol production also.
Naturally, that will impact, but the chances are rare because UP cane cultivation is not dependent on the, as I said, on the monsoon or rainwater. It is totally dependent on the perennial river water, which is available throughout.
Sure. And any new seed innovations that can help even further improve?
Basically, every seed has a life. See, after that, their life about, you can say 10, 15 years life, the seed will start degrowing. Degrowing means that the recovery will, sucrose recovery will start coming down. So basically, they are already developed two seeds. One is 118, another is 15023, which are lab tested. And I think this year they are sowing also. So on the trial basis. So there might be some 5 to 6% area will get covered with 118 seed. So you see that 0238 took almost 10 years to come to 100%. It started in 2012-13, and I think only by last year they are reached to almost 97-98%. So the same way the seed, new seed which starts now, it may take the same cycle to go to that 100%.
Okay, okay. So there's a question from Keshav that the MCA is showing that ethanol, there could be an oversupply of ethanol actually in the future. So, and authors are
I don't know. Just now we mentioned that ethanol will be basically used into the other things like aeroplane and other things. So I don't see ethanol becoming oversupply at all, because you see what we are doing is we are only talking about 20% mixing. Even if we can go to 50% mixing, and then we can do mixing to the other things also, no? Like aeroplane fuel, ATF and other things. So I don't see the ethanol can be oversupplied anytime.
right, right. Sure. So next 10, 15 years, I guess there is no demand issue and we can take it as it comes later. And this whole logistics issue, there is a question from Pramodji that there's a logistics issue between OMC storage, the transportation.
That is why the government has preponed this E10 to E12 and E15 and then E20. They have preponed the program only to solve the logistic issues, so that till they solve these logistic issues, the industry producing ethanol should not have any problem to supply nearby depots. So they are preponed those things. So I think definitely they will come out some ideas. They are working on very seriously on how to make it competitive to export to the other states, faraway states, because the production is only limited to the few states. So if you are to move it to Kerala or to move it to Assam, the transportation cost is very high. So government is looking for some alternate transportation, or they will have to compensate that transportation.
Sure. So this whole ethanol ecosystem में आप जो mention कर रहे हो, it's natural beneficiary sugarcane companies are becoming fully integrated and all, but without taking any names of companies in the on the capex side, equipment suppliers or other boiler suppliers, can they also benefit, or to what extent who will benefit?
Definitely the demand for the distillery as well as basically in a distillery, the boiler is the major part of the distillery. It's about 60 to 70% cost of boiler which is required. The rest 40%, maybe 35 to 40% goes to the distillery part. So in this particular distillery, boiler is required, is called insular boiler, which has to consume the waste of distillery as a fuel in the boiler itself, so that it can run throughout the year.
Sure. So just to
this
make it
boiler
simple,
are produced right now, I think by two companies. One is ISCHEC, other is KCP Limited. So these are the two companies who are making this kind of boiler, which is consuming waste of distillery as a fuel. So that waste has to be deleted.
So boilers are not being made by even there are several players in the boiler side, right? Even Thermax or other players.
I
I don't
don't
know.
think Thermax is making insular boiler. I have to
Got
find
it.
out.
Got it. Fair enough. Fair enough. And so, okay. So suppose 100 rupee of capex is being spent on the project. Apart from civil work and all, ये distillation related equipment and boiler में क्या percentage है sir?
See, the question is 70-30. Boiler is the 70 and the distillery is 30. But
Okay.
you see, when you are going for a distillery for more volume, you see, basically, I want to explain the distillery, which is 1 lakh kiloliter. Basically, once you use it for bee molasses, the capacity automatically goes to 130. And if you use it for juice, it can go to 160. So the requirement for boiler will remain 100 KLPD. Okay. So the 100 KLPD boiler can work for 130 kiloliter and 160. So distillery part can increase accordingly.
Okay. Okay.
So
Right.
if you see that the distillery on the older this thing, suppose for 1 lakh liter, then I think 70-30 is the ratio. But here distillery part can be larger so that it can go to 40 to 50% also.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So now coming to a very judgmental section, everybody has a different view on that. Is how really to value these companies, so to say. Specifically because आप बता रहे हो कि there is a cycle change. So is past really relevant to value these companies, sir?
Not at all.
Not
Because
at all.
you see, the industry is becoming a structural change and it is more stable than any other industry. I don't see any industry which has got a visibility next 4-5 years that their profit will go up in one direction other than this industry. Because you can see that every 1 crore liter enhancement of production will add 25 crores of the profit in case there is no hike in the sugar price. But in case there is sugar price hike, then that profit will be additional added to this profit. So
Right.
you have no downside in the profitability from here. It can be only on one way up. And there is a quite visibility is there, clear visibility. So as the distillery capacity keep adding, your profitability will keep adding.
Sure. Sure.
But
And yeah.
But
And
I also foresee the sugar price to move up to at least 36 minimum, and it can even go to 38, 39 in next 2-3 years. So
Got
then
it,
the
got it.
profitability will be multifold.
Got it. Got it. We will come to that. So, just a case study that has been put. So, just want to understand कि recovery or sugar price का EBITDA पे या profit पे क्या impact रहता है? Which is the key metric for us to track कि इसके कारण profit will move up the maximum.
See, basically, earlier sugar industry had a positive if your recovery is higher. But according to my calculation now, higher recovery has no metrics because we are not extracting full sugar out of the sugar cane. So it is more important what sugar cane we grow in our area with the higher sucrose. The higher the sucrose, higher the profitability. It's not the sugar recovery. So basically, when we were extracting sugar, then A can extract more recovery, B can recover less recovery. So that used to make a difference. But now we are going ahead with bee molasses. We are anyway going to leave the sugar into the molasses. So it doesn't make any difference if somebody is more efficient in extracting more sugar out of the sugarcane.
Okay. So that's a point I think not many people are saying and understand. Okay.
Because this is the first time, no? First time people have to understand, no? First time,
Right.
a lot of people may not even think on these lines. So recovery has no meaning now left because we are going ahead with the bean molasses. So bean molasses, we are leaving the sugar into the molasses. So then recovery doesn't make any difference. We have to only concentrate on the quality of the cane, what seed we sow and which has got more sucrose. So that will make the difference, not the recovery.
Sure. Right. And to your mind, sir, अच्छा नहीं, I just want to delve this deeper. आपने अभी बोला कि this kind of a stability and visibility is not visible, it's quite rare. तो
Yeah.
आपको क्या stability या क्या visibility दिख रही है? Why is the profits so secure to your mind?
See,
Or why is the
basically,
visible? Yeah, go ahead.
visibility is very clear because of the ethanol prices and the capacity coming into ethanol and the EBITDA margin in the ethanol, which is quite fixed. Your cost of cane is fixed and your selling price is fixed. Your production cost is known. Everything is fixed. So as you increase your production and you sell more, your selling, you have no restriction on selling more. So everything is there. You can sell as much as you want. So you can produce as much as you can do. So whoever is able to make more ethanol, he'll make more profit. There is quite visibility. So anybody adding more and more ethanol will be making more and more profit.
Okay. And any risk that you see or into any area of sugar companies? I mean, if you have to point out a few risks, what would be you watching for?
There can be only one risk. You see, this whole industry is dependent upon the cane cultivation.
Huh.
If there is a disease for the cane and the cane production comes down, that may be a risk. So that companies have to take care by taking care of the cane production. So that's why they are coming out with the change of seed. Because the one seed, if you continue for a longer period, it gets a disease. So that is why people are now replacing the seed. So that is the only one area there can be a risk.
Sure. Got it, sir. Coming to valuation, everybody will have their own interpretation and judgment. How do we really value these companies knowing what is in store next few years? What is your assessment of valuation, sir?
No, you have to see that the sustainability of the profit, and it is not only sustaining, it is also growing. So the profit is only the one direction upward. So I think the market has to take call on that.
Okay. So up here, in the slide, we have just shown that there are some global biodiesel and ethanol peers globally, and what valuations are they trading at? Just for
So we
illustration
must
purpose.
be trading better than those because we have got a government policy to support our ethanol policy, whereas they don't have support from the government. So we should get a better price than that.
Sure. Okay. I think we'll discuss that in questions a bit, because government policy is always taken it as a bit of a negative, or maybe it is not forever. So then, how do we see the sustainability? Maybe 3-5 years it will work good, but there's always a fear that someday something will change. Okay, so just coming to an illustration again, that if we compare the two sugar companies to some of the chemical names, they are still trading at much lower P. And as Anilji is saying, that the growth outlook next 3-4 years, there are a lot of possibilities. Anilji, just to further, so today the profit of currently listed sugar companies is some 1,700 crores.
Okay.
तो मोटा मोटी आपको लगता है क्या कि can these companies meaningfully scale up? कि there can be constant cash flow generation, reinvestment to create further capacity.
Yes.
Can there be 2, 3, 5, 10x scalability in this business?
See, I can only talk about the profit growth. The profit growth in these companies, they depending upon their capacity, whatever they put. But I think with the whatever capacity they have announced, with that capacity itself, their profit in the next 4 years can double from here.
Okay. And this is including a sugar price higher or at the current sugar price that you are?
This we are taking no hike in sugar price. This is the current sugar price.
Okay, and every 1 rupee hike in sugar price का क्या effect रहता है profit पे? What is your calculation, sir?
See, basically that is up to what percentage of sugar you are making. You see, if suppose you are sacrificing 30% and you are making 70% sugar, then you have to add that 70% sugar quantity and add into the profitability. Every 1 rupee will make 70 crore for suppose you are having 7 lakh tons of sugar or 7 lakh tons of sugar, you add 1 rupee means 70 crores of the profit will be added.
Right. Got it. Right. And a final point is कि जो आपने mention किया अभी थोड़ी देर पहले कि ethanol prices globally have gone up. So does this help in any way further divert more sugar towards ethanol, or what is your interpretation?
Not for India. Might happen in the world.
Okay. Right.
Because we are not going to export ethanol anyway.
Right. But आपने जो पहले बोला कि due to global decarbonization drive and ESG drive, further it's helping and the climate agreements. So this cycle might be different than the previous cycle, where currently there are multiple things coming together to help the sugar cycle.
Yes.
Sure.
It is no more a sugar cycle now. You see, once we are converting sugar into ethanol, the cyclicity is gone already. So basically, we can convert at least 20 to 30% of sugar into. We don't require more sugar to be converted because our excess capacity is to the tune of around 20%. So if we convert overall 20%, so overall 20% means the larger player will do 30%. There may be some player marginal player may not have that facility. So the larger player does 30%. That is the maximum we will do.
Got it, sir. So we've come to the end of the presentation. I want to get in Nikhil and Sanjay, and I think it's been the hard work of Nikhil and Sanjay that we have a presentation that we could connect. I will try and put you guys on mute, unmute, and Nikhil and Sanjay, you both should also ask some difficult questions to Anilji. In case we have missed some points before we open the floor to others.
Thank you, Anilji, for this detailed presentation. Thank you, Varun. Yeah. Major of the question has been already asked and answered by Anilji. Only thing is, like, sir, if Brazil production is expected to be lower next year, so will India require export subsidy?
Not at all. See, that is what I'm telling you. Once we cross 19 cents or 19 cents, we may not require the subsidy. And I don't think government also will give subsidy when it is not required.
Correct. So in a way, our dependence on government will go down going forward.
Yes. That is what I said. Without subsidy, next year we can export. I think so. If the price goes beyond 1920, which is likely to happen.
Also, in the long run, if we, like, India has been a major exporter of sugar in the last 3-4 years. So that has kept the international prices suppressed. One of the reasons for international prices going muted is also India.
Yeah.
So how do you see the international prices, sir, in the long run? So
see, as we start consuming more sugar into ethanol, so we will not be exporting sugar anymore. After 3 years or 4 years, there will be no export of sugar, either subsidized or OGL, because we may not have sugar for our own consumption. So it will be matching to our own consumption. So there will be no excess. Then the global shortage may come or may not come. We don't know, depending upon Thailand and Brazil production. So at that time, how they produce, because they are the larger exporter in the world. So we had not been an exporter of sugar earlier. We have become exporter only recently. So yeah.
So another thing you mentioned, the key risk can be a crop failure.
What?
Key risk for the industry can be a crop failure.
Yes, yes.
Right. But if we look at the past, over the last 2 years, what has happened in like first power tariff were reduced from 5 rupees to 3 rupees per unit.
Yes.
Then again, UP government putting a levy for molasses, 18% levy for molasses.
So, levy on molasses is there for many years. It is not the new thing. Levy on molasses in UP has been there for many years. The percentage only keep changing.
But this time, I believe it was made compulsory. Earlier, they can use the molasses for the ethanol production as well. But this time,
I think it was always compulsory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it was always only the percentage used to keep changing. It was 20, then it came down to 12%. Now again, it has gone up to 18%.
So apart from crop failure, what other risk are you seeing? Like we know center is quite focused with a robust ethanol policy and all that, but state has been coming up with one or other negative news like power, then molasses. So what is your?
No, molasses is not new. That is what I am trying to say. Molasses is already there in the UP. The power is definitely power tariff is definitely a negative. But now that is without power itself, I think industry is able to sustain. No? So basically, I feel that we have to forego this power thing because the industry is not going to produce more power than what they require. Only they will produce when they require power and they will export. Otherwise, they will be selling bagas in the open market, which give them more money than the producing power at 3 rupees. So most of the UP mills now, they are not producing power when they don't require power for their own running the plant. So they are selling the bagas, which is selling almost at 2,000. If they convert that into power, they will be losers. So why should they do that? They are selling bagas and they are recovering some of the loss which they are making now in power by selling bagas.
Got it, sir. Sir, for an integrated mill, ethanol, they are selling bagas, they are converting that into power, they are selling press mud, they are making ethanol. So what can be the next value addition they can do going forward?
See, basically, this distillery, they are making ENA, which you know that. Then from ENA, if the company wants to make forward products, there are a lot of products can be made out of ENA. So it is depending on the individual to explore that area. So they can enter into some fine chemicals from ENA and then increase the valuation.
Got it, sir. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
Hi, sir. This is Sanjay. Very insightful presentation, I must say. Though most of the things have been discussed by Varun very in great detail, but I have two things specifically what today's the event of Prime Minister about on the World Environment Day, where I think they have mentioned about the flexi fuel cars. Pretty similar kind of a model which Brazilian companies or Brazilian industry is having, and Brazil is now 50% plus kind of on blending levels with E27 mandatory and the flexi. So do you think that beyond 2025 there is a possibility that because of the introduction of flexi fuel cars, the ethanol demand continue to grow upward and probably the industry can
So that depends if we have able to produce beyond the ethanol, beyond what we will be producing in 2025. We should have feedstock to See, unless we are, see, Brazil has got excess feedstock of cane, so they are being able to do that. But India doesn't have that much excess. So whatever excess, if we are consuming already, then there is no much scope left. So only if we are able to have more feedstock, we can go. See, the possibility going higher production is there, but definitely if we have more surplus feedstock.
So in the same context, if I may ask, we have abundance grains in our country, and now government has allowed from the production from the ethanol production from the
Yes.
broken rice, wheat, and rice, and all those
Yes.
grains also. And we have also seen that some of the sugar companies have also ventured into the grain-based distillery,
Yes.
maybe to compensate the sugarcane juice along with the with the leftover days in the year. But can this be a new revenue stream for sugar company where the grain-based ethanol also adding to the revenues and ultimately to the profitability?
Yes, it can definitely add. There is no doubt about it, because that is also remunerative, but not as remunerative as sugar. So, suppose you have achieved your full capacity of ethanol from the cane, so then I think you can shift to make it from the other feedstock. So this 1,000 crore liter which we require up to 2025, we are already accounting around 250 to 300 crore liter from the other than sugar, because we are taking sugar only around 750 crore liter out of sugar. So that is already taken into account.
Right, sir. Right, sir. And one last thing on the global prices, you though have mentioned quite a few times that global prices can go up, and but do you think that a lot of sugar mills in India are very small mills, and despite so I'm talking about recent phenomena, maybe just this year's perspective or next year's perspective, that so suppose price remains at 17-18 cents or maybe 19 cents, so some mills probably would be exporting under OGL, but do you think that even the smaller mills can export under OGL because they constantly require some or the other support, maybe small support from the government in terms of government subsidy, and if government subsidy doesn't come, then this 6 million ton can become a reality next year as well?
Yeah, basically they have no other go. They have to either export or sell in domestic market. If they are not able to sell in domestic market, they have to sell in export market. So whatever surplus you have to sell in export. So even if government doesn't give the subsidy, government will not give subsidy only in case the global prices are quite remunerative for export.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Perfect. Thank you very much for the insightful presentation and for addressing these questions. Thank you, sir.
Right. So a couple of questions that have come that I want to share. So one is from Pankaj. So can the same plant that is put up for ethanol, can the same plant be used for grain-based in the future?
Distillery is the same. Basically, you have to have initial part of feedstock. So you have to have some extra feed, depending upon the feedstock, some extra apparatus for grinding and making into the paste of that food grain. Yeah.
Okay, got it. So I think one of the companies has announced that in the off season it will utilize the distillery for grain-based production, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
not
more
one.
point.
I think even the other industry or another company also announced that they are putting a 40K LPD for a trial basis. So
Okay. Another point is, Kisa, to further grow, you need more cane. So can there be some kind of a cane command area expansion or some takeover of other companies' consolidation in the industry?
See, the smaller companies, which is unlikely to survive for long, they may be taken over by people who are interested into make juice, ethanol from juice, just to get the cane area. So they can take over the industry, smaller industry, and use the cane area for making ethanol. As I told you, this new person cannot enter into this industry, into ethanol, because he has to have a cane area. To get the cane area, they can buy out these non-profitable sugar industries.
Okay, okay. So once the arrears are over, maybe
Yeah.
in a year or something, so do you see that some of the large companies will take over some of the smaller companies?
Possibility is there.
Okay,
Possibility
but
is there.
it's early days. Okay, it's
Yeah,
early days,
it's
right?
early
Yeah.
days. But
Right.
I think that somebody wants to make ethanol from directly from cane, and he doesn't have a sugar mill. He will be more interested to buy this non-viable sugar industry, to buy out and start distillery on that cane area.
Okay.
Because government has allowed to make without sugar industry ethanol from sugar cane, but only thing is entry is not available because the cane area is not there. So to get the cane area, they can buy out the non-viable sugar industry to get that particular cane area.
Right, right.
And convert it to distillery instead of sugar.
Sure, sure. I think we have a question from Varinder. Varinder, you want to go ahead and ask? Yeah.
Thank you, Varun, for a great presentation, and thank you, Anilji. Really, really great insights, sir. One thing I really want to understand, and sometimes I think about it as well. Everyone is discussing कि 1,000 crore liter का ethanol का capacity हो जाएगा by FY25, right?
Yes.
So even the largest company in India, everyone knows about it, so I'm naming it, Balrampur. उसका capacity 2024 तक मेरे ख्याल में it will be 30 crore liter.
That is 2023. I think they will be achieving that capacity in 2023. So simultaneously, they can go for further capacity. No, it's not that there is no ban that they cannot announce next year further capacity.
True.
So at this 1,000 crore, but I told you very clearly, it is not 1,000 crore out of sugar. It may be 700 to 750 crores out of sugar. The rest is from other feedstocks.
Okay. No. So I also, that was my question actually. 700, 750 will be sugar, and the remaining will be from other non-sugar sources.
Yes.
But sir, most of these companies may become aggressive, right? Considering the size of opportunity ahead.
Yes.
So a company like Balrampur will not want to sit at 3% of the, 5% of the market, right? There will be huge capacity additions still going ahead.
Yes. That is already I mentioned in the beginning that a lot of more capacity will be announced once these capacities are coming. So more and more capacity may come in because it's so remunerative. So nobody can avoid going ahead and putting more capacity.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Right. So next question we have from Madhav. Madhav, can you go ahead?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good evening, and thank you so much for such an insightful presentation. It was very, very helpful. I just wanted to understand, you've addressed this question already, but, if 2-3 years down the line, the industry starts making good profitability on ethanol and the payback period is quite low.
Yeah.
What's the risk of, government one day coming in saying, I'm going to cut the ethanol price by say 20-30% and make it lower? That's just what I'm just trying to understand because
see that can reverse the progress of ethanol making, no? So I don't think government can take that chance of reversing that what they're dreaming. I think this is a dream of Prime Minister himself to become more ethanol mixing into the petrol, so decarbonize. So I don't see that risk.
Okay. So it's more import substitution will be the bigger priority versus industry earning more money, basically.
What?
The import substitution becomes the bigger priority for the government rather than looking at the profits that they're making. So that will keep the pricing sustainable, basically.
I couldn't get your question.
No, so I'm just saying that basically because the import substitution opportunity is there in petrol,
Yes.
that will become the priority for the government rather
Correct.
than.
That is the priority. That is why they are coming out with this program and they are giving such an lucrative offers to the industry to put more and more distillery.
Understood. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome.
Right. Just one question I had, sir, on what Varinder was asking, and just to extend that, let's say Balrampur, the largest company, is getting to 30 crore liter, and the total demand is, let's say, of 700 crore liters in the next 5 years, 6 years. So, what is the potential of a single company on its own to be able to get to? Can somebody get to 100 crore liters? Will there be one company in India?
No, that depends upon the cane availability. You can't just keep putting a capacity without cane. You should have enough cane to produce ethanol. So, see, basically what I see that industry can go up to a maximum around 40% of cane into this. Otherwise, they will be out of sugar. Because sugar will also become lucrative after a few years. You know, once you start making more ethanol, once the ethanol consumes more sugar, the sugar itself will become more remunerative. No? That is what I mentioned in the beginning. The sugar will also can overtake the profitability what you make in ethanol. So then why you should sacrifice sugar?
Okay. There is one point that I think we forgot to discuss or mention. The balance sheet effect of this transition from sugar to ethanol, usme aapki kya reading hai, sir? How will the balance sheet of companies change?
See, the first and foremost, once you convert sugar into ethanol, you are getting the cash flow immediately, which you would have got at the end of the sale of that particular sugar.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the working capital days or something will reduce by how much?
You can see that companies have more cash flow in this balance sheet than their profitability.
Sure.
I think you must have worked on that. If you see the cash flow is much higher than the profit. So that means they reduce working capital cycle. Right. So that will continue.
Right. I think we have some Keshav, can you go ahead? You have quite a bit of data and questions, so you can ask.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for the presentation. Sir, as per MCA, they have come up with 422 projects and they've approved 1,700 crore liters for ethanol, of which 600 would be live by 2025. And they claim that by 2025, they should have close to 1,500 crore liters of capacity to meet the 20% E20 target. And sir, the balance still remains of 1,000 liters that would probably be done after that. And sir, one major constraint that I feel that could happen is the automobile compliance. So sir, right now we have E10 compliant vehicles. And the auto industry is also asking the government to demarcate the fuels E20 versus the rest. So, sir, this base of 1,500 crore liters of ethanol, if we see, means that the petrol consumption they are targeting would be, I think, close to 6,000 crore liters, which is way beyond.
I think it is only 1,000 crore liter you require for 20%, not 1,500 liters. I think you are making a mistake somewhere.
Because I can share the article also. It's on the government website. All this.
No, that is the total ethanol requirement. That doesn't mean that ethanol required for the fuel. See,
so, but even at 1,000. So even at 1,000, why are we not assuming that the E20 compliance factor?
No, this is 1,000 liters only after E20 compliance with the rising demand of petrol till 2025.
No, sir. No, E20 compliance with respect to the automobile.
Yeah.
Not with respect to that the OMCs would be able to manage
Okay.
it, but from the respect of whether we'll have the technology pans the automobile industry to totally absorb it.
Yes, that government has already, I think, placed order from 2023. They have to produce E20 compliant vehicles. No?
No, sir. But then again, by 23 we'll be producing E20. But
Yeah.
right now, till then, we can run E10. Anything after 2008 has been E10 compliant. So,
Yeah.
sir, we will by 2025 we'll have a very small percentage of E20 compliant vehicles actually.
Yeah.
So, sir, like where will all that? We can definitely meet the E20 target, that is true. But would we be able to use that fuel?
No, I think if that may not be able to use for the prior vehicle made before 23, you mean? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So then government has to come with an alternative policy. That is, at that time, the government has to take some step.
Okay, sir, but that feels like a big constraint, as in that anything below E20 would mean.
See, basically, I don't see there is a major change in the basically going to be for E20 compliance. So there may be some modification to the engine, which can be done by some changeover. So it may not be some major issue.
So indeed, as in any future vehicles coming out would definitely be compliant, or maybe even more than 20%.
No, but existing vehicle also they will come out with some formula where they can change the some kits. They can come out with the changing the basically few parts, so that can be they will make them compliance to E20. It is possible.
So let me just add here ki in one of the presentations of videos of Praj, which is there on YouTube, they said that they have seen vehicles going up to E20 with very minor modifications.
That is what I am telling. No?
So I don't know what the truth is, but that is what they said.
Yes. You don't require a very big change. It requires a very minor change, which can be done on the existing vehicle by supplying some kits.
Okay, all right. Sure.
Yeah.
Rajesh, you have any question?
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Anil ji. So,
Hi.
मेरे पास दो सवाल था actually. One question was already answered in the vehicular question that the earlier participant asked. My question was relating to the petrol pump and the configuration, because in Europe, I have seen these petrol pumps having different dispensers for E10, E20, E85, and so on and so forth. And that's a major configuration change. In a diesel-heavy country like ours, will the petrol pump owners be willing to compromise on the extra space to have several differently ethanol-enabled petrol dispensers? Has that been thought about at all by the government in terms of these things?
They might not have any other choice but to do that, because if the government makes it mandatory, so and they have to sell that E20 petrol, they have to come with the dispenser.
Which means sacrificing a lot of valuable real estate to create additional dispensers, right? Because we see what the real estate is needed for vehicles standing in queue for 75% buying diesel. So that's a big choice that the petrol pump owners have to make, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, will that be a? I mean, my basic question is up to 15%. Even I think there's no issue, or maybe slightly. But beyond that, to go the next step forward, will that all these factors like vehicle changeover, petrol pump changeover, will that?
That is what I am telling you. Up to 20%, there is not a major changeover. It's a minor changeover.
Okay.
Right.
So up to 50%, even the old vehicles you think can run on the
Yes,
same
yes,
fuel,
yes.
or they'll
They can run on the same fuel.
the old vehicles, even the ones which are more than 5 years old, running on the streets. I mean,
Yes, they can run on that.
okay, fine.
They are
So
already E10 compliance, so they can run on 15. That's not an issue.
Okay. And my second question was related to the ethanol pricing. While we are sure that the government is now trying to encourage ethanol investment and giving a favorable pricing, is there a long run risk of ethanol prices being deregulated or linked to petrol in some kind of form, or crude oil or whatever? Will that be a hindrance on valuations in the long run? Will that affect the kind of, while we're trying to value these companies, and I also see the global peers trading at 15 to 17x, but we only give a certain discount to the fact that the industry is so heavily regulated, and ethanol pricing being regulated is one of this criterion. So what are your thoughts on that?
See, basically what I am trying to say that we have not reached to that level where we have to worry about government changing their view to reduce the price. That is always happens when the supply is overtaking the demand. So I don't see that we are going to that stage near future.
Till 24, so till 24, I also agree with you. But after that, there is a chance.
It's not easily achievable target. It's not easily achievable target. So I don't see that worry as long as the supply doesn't overtake the demand.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So Anujji, I think we've reached. We've come at 6 o'clock now. Before we wrap up, I think there's a very important thing that we need to bring in. You have always said that apart from capital markets, spirituality has been very close to you. I think that is your building block, discipline, life, and spirituality. So I think in the 5-10 minutes, if you could just give us the other side of your life, what is the sanskar or the values or the spiritual thoughts that have guided your life?
See, basically, one thing is very clear. If you want to become a real good investor, you have to be very disciplined. Okay. So only if you are disciplined, you can be a real good investor. So if anybody is interested to become a good investor, he has to be very disciplined. So over and above discipline, you have to have a simple life. That is my policy. So the more you simple, the more less you have pressure in your mind to do other things, then you can use that mind to use to the right direction. So basically, a lot of people, they get because of peer pressure or other things, they get into the rat race, and then their mind is always blocked with so many things. So they don't have a clarity of thinking. So that doesn't work well.
Right. Sure. And just a final point is that with such a large investment and into an industry which is obviously driven by government right now, and indirectly benefiting the industry. Government is obviously helping the farmers. But what do you do in decisions where you actually go wrong, or how do you then make a decision if you see there is something not happening as per your thesis?
See, I have a lot of clarity on this industry, though I went wrong twice. That was totally a different reason. One was in 2017-18 when the production went beyond anybody's imagination. We anticipated a production of 26 million and we produced 32.8, which was abnormal. And when I did the research on that, why it went so haywire, I came to understand that the yield in the farm in 2017-18 went almost from 75 to 108 in Maharashtra and 95 in Karnataka. That is totally a nature kind of thing, which nobody has control. So that is why a lot of estimate went wrong. But that actually became a blessing in disguise, because of that excess sugar produced in that year only made government to come with a lot of things to make this industry more structural than what it was. So sometimes some bad thing can bring a better thing for the long term. Short term may be bad, long term may be good.
Sure. Fair enough. I think we've had a very enriching discussion, Anuji, and thank you so much for such so much of time that we spent, and I think you've been coaching us for quite some time. It's been 12-18 months that come. Nikhil and Sanjay, thanks a lot for assembling this content for everybody. The presentation is shared with everybody, so that really helps them to see the data jo Anand ji ne samjhaya pura. Seeing is believing. I think that'll be all. Anything from your side, Anand ji, before we close?
Nothing. It's a great pleasure to give whatever my knowledge I have. So
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and
Yeah.
good evening, everybody. Have a great time and take care of your health. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm closing the event. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, sir. Right.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I think I was